Welcome MLB The Show fans to the very first feature premiere for MLB The Show 25. I'm Carson, joined by Ashley from the live content team, and we have some of the gameplay team along with us for this first feature premiere. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to tell the group kind of what you do here?
Yeah, sure. I am the gameplay director. Been here a really long time. And I'm fired up to talk about gameplay this year. Out of, honestly, all the years I've been here, this is a really cool year, 25, so super excited to dive into it.
Yeah, so many things we want to talk about, all things new gameplay. We're also here with Connor Ryan, designing producer for the game. How you feeling?
Great. Super happy to be here. Looking forward to everything, as Gil mentioned. We've got a lot of cool stuff that we're excited to chat with you all about.
Yeah, we had to start with gameplay for this first feature premiere. I know all our fans are so excited to see what's going to be new. Not only is the gameplay going to be new, but we also have a new format for the feature premieres. Ashley, you want to walk everyone through it?
You got it, Carson. New format each week up until launch. We're going to have deep dives on Tuesday, hosted from our good friend Robert Flores that you know from MLB Network. You'll be able to check out these deep dives anywhere that you follow MLB The Show, so make sure you're doing so if you haven't already. And then on every Thursday of those weeks, you're going to be joined by us with the developers of these specific modes to get even more attention and specifics about all that's new that's coming to MLB The Show 25. But you're going to want to stay tuned after these little recorded sessions because we will be live on the couch, chilling in the Twitch room, going over exactly what we just discussed. And Carson, we're going to have a little Q&A with the fans, with the devs, just to make sure everybody is as prepared as possible so they can get rolling on launch nights.
Yeah, we're feeling great about what we're going to do for feature premieres this year. We have so much new stuff for everything in MLB The Show 25. I know you guys are excited, so let's get into it.
Now that you all know the structure of our feature premieres, like Carson said, we are here with the geniuses behind gameplay for MLB The Show 25, a great list of new updates for you all, and we're going to start with ambush hitting. What is it?
Ambush hitting. Everybody's wondering. Well, all of you that know baseball lingo, ambushing a fastball would be like teeing off on a first pitch fastball, inside or outside. You're looking away or you're looking in and you just smoke it. Perfect, right? It's an extension of our zone hitting mechanic. Super excited to have this new feature in the game.
So then you bring it from the baseball perspective. How do our fans then do it within MLB The Show? How can they predict the pitches? Yeah,
so that's super cool, and I'm so excited about this. Obviously, we're all baseball people here, and having experience playing in real life, understanding what it's like to face a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, let alone 105-mile-an-hour nowadays, these guys in the big leagues, you got to have a plan when you come to the plate. These guys can't walk up to the plate, look for a fastball in and look for a fastball away. You just can't do it. So especially when you're ahead in the count, ambush hitting gives you the ability to kind of attack and have your own little scouting report and plan based on how that pitcher's attacking you that day. So if I look for a fastball in, I move the right stick to the left if I'm a right-handed hitter, and I can jump on that inside fastball. And what it does is it gives you a little bit of an edge. It gives you like basically a bigger bat and a little better timing window. Right? But if I guess wrong, it's going to shrink that PCI. So on the opposite side, probably shrinks it about 2 difficulties higher, and your timing slightly worse. But it doesn't mean you can't hit a mistake when you guess the wrong side. So just like in real life, Ashley, like if I'm looking away for a fastball and somebody hangs me a curveball, I can still move my PCI. It lights my eyes up and he hangs it. I can still hit a perfect. So it doesn't take anything away from you other than the size of your bat.
No, that's perfect, Gil. It's great to see that prediction within the game. I mean, I know I've hung some curveballs for you. I can only imagine if you had ambush hitting at that time, what that could have resulted in.
Yeah, you got payback coming to me. I know.
Oh, I got you. But the cool thing is, too, is like I know for me, I use a PCI when I'm playing, and so I'm always leaning a little bit inside and leaning a little bit outside, but now I have that extra motivator with ambush hitting. That's going to reward me when I guess inside correctly. A pitch comes inside, boom, I demolish it. Or if the pitch is outside but I'm guessing inside, I still have time to make up that window.
I was just going to say, on the pitching side of things, I think it's a game changer as well. You're not going to see in online play what your opponents, which way they're ambushing. So it's constantly going to be a cat and mouse game and a guess of, are they sitting inside on a sinker or what are they doing? And I think that's one of the coolest things is it's it's going to impact everything.
And it's also an option that you can either opt in or not, right? And so essentially, like you were saying, you're already sitting with your PCI in if you're looking in, right? You're already sitting with your PCI out, or you're locking it in a position based on how you like to move the PCI or what feels most comfortable for you. So you can either opt in or not. And for me, playing this game, I like using it ahead in the count, right? So as long as I'm not behind in the count, then I'm using my ambush hitting. And, if I'm looking inside and he throws it away, I just let it go. If I'm looking away, he throws it inside, I just let it go. I get to 2 strikes. I don't use it anymore. And now I'm just battling up there.
Yeah, so I'm hearing, you get to pick a side on the plate. You get to zero in. This is all optional. Remember that as a hitter. And that PCI is going to scale to your benefit, or it could actually hurt you if you pick the wrong side. And I can't wait to go through this in the live portion, and we can kind of talk more about it. But it's definitely a huge change and addition to MLB The Show 25. But that's not the only thing new in gameplay. We have a whole new look at new infield reactions, and I'm talking jumps at ground balls. Chris Gill, talk me through some of this.
Yeah, so we've had start transition animations for our outfielders for a few years now. One of the things that was that addition that we put in, it really opened up the offense.
Yeah.
So guys that were running down fly balls because of their perfect jumps all the time got a little frustrating. So we added in a scaling system based on how good you were, perfect jumps, bad jumps, and you could see the animations and directly relate that to whether the ball landed or didn't. This year, we added them for infielders. It's a little different, though. From a baseball perspective, you're not going to see these crazy jumps on ground balls. You don't see it. But in the footwork and how quickly they can react directly is correlated with their attributes. So the better the fielder is, the quicker they're going to start. And we are going to show you with an animation. It's very subtle. It's within hundreds of seconds, but it makes a big difference. It's the difference between a ground ball getting through the infield or a 99 diamond guy getting the best jump and going to field the ball.
Yeah, and we have them in 3 different buckets, right? In terms of okay jumps, good jumps, and then the perfect jumps. So it really does depend. If you have those attributes that are higher, you're going to have a better chance at a perfect jump that's going to get you to the ball to throw the runner out.
So like you're seeing on the screen right here, we're showing the exact same hit in the exact same location, but we are showing you 3 different start transitions, 3 different animations. One, you can see that he gets to the ball cleanly on his feet. The other one, you're seeing he's diving for the ball. And then the yellow one, I should have said the blue one, obviously he's getting there, standing up. The green one, he has to dive. And the yellow start transition, he can't even get to the ball. So that's the difference between the 3.
Sounds like putting your squad together just got even more strategy involved, Connor. What kind of attributes should I be looking at when I'm putting my squad together?
Well, for infielders, all fielding attributes matter, whether it's arm accuracy, whatever it is, reaction. But this year specifically, reaction is huge for infielders and outfielders, but we'll focus on infielders right now. When it comes to infield reaction, what you're going to notice is that on screen you'll see a display on this specific hit that we were showing in the previous clip. You're going to see that a 99 is going to get the best perfect reaction 100% of the time, whereas a 50 or a 75 is going to get okay or good jumps a lot more frequently. And because of that, a lot more balls are going to get through, and you're going to really want to focus on reaction.
Yeah, so essentially it's scaled, right? So the better I am, the more perfect jumps I'm going to get. I got a 99 card, I'm getting perfect all the time. I got a 25 guy out there, shortstop, I'm seeing yellow every single time. So it's scaled from 0 to 99.
Once our infielders have now reacted to the ball, there's going to be a new throw meter involved that allows them to continue the play and then eventually throw the runner out. What does this mean for real-life baseball, Gil? Start us there.
Well, everything we do in our game is real-life baseball. Let me just start with that. This is a baseball simulation. Ever since I've been here, I preach it. I tell these guys all the time. Everybody knows it. So I try to look at real life and try to see how we can emulate that in a video game, but we also have to make the game really fun. So there's a little trade-off here and there that you got to do. The new throwing meter, aside from aesthetics and it looking better, which I'm happy about, we made some adjustments. Essentially, the most important adjustment was the blue perfect throw. So everybody knows how hard it is to get an assist from the outfield and throw a runner out at the plate or at third base, right? Or even a guy at second when a ball's hit down the line, one of your corner outfielders. So we had to make that adjustment the last couple years to make sure that it was a little bit more difficult to hit that perfect line. I don't think we did a great job of doing that, so we made some adjustments. And one of the problems, I think, everybody's starting to get a little bit more used to the throw meter.
You hear that? Gil is telling that you all are all very good at this game. We need to keep challenging you.
Well, and we got a lot of feedback too. So I think at the end of the day, it's important for offense to get what they deserve and not allow the defense to cheat in a way that doesn't make sense, that correlates to real life. And so what I mean by that is that we don't want more assists from the outfield than you do in real life. However, if you're great with the sticks, you can still do it. So we moved the perfect line, the blue, from, like you can see in these videos here, from the middle to the end, which is higher reward, higher risk. If I miss it, I could potentially, if I'm short, I can still be in the green, but if I miss it late, I'm going to be in the red and I'm going to throw wild or offline. So this just adds a little bit more incentive to potentially play it safe and not risk it too much. And you're also going to have a moving meter like we've always had. And just to make sure people understand, that meter will move based on how difficult that play is. And the difficulty of the play is not only in the infield, like running in the hole and trying to do a jump throw or up the middle or charging a ground ball. Those are also difficult plays, and you'll see that meter move. But in the outfield, it's long distance throws, right? So obviously, if you don't get behind the ball, if you're not in a good crow hop position, using the tag up meter, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so I'm hearing, more risk reward when it comes to the throw meter. We're going to move that perfect back to the end of the green, essentially. So if you do overshoot it, you're going to be throwing a bad throw, but you're just going to get even more reward when you actually execute it. Connor, that's not the only thing changing with the throw meter. There's also going to be some ties to the attributes of the players themselves.
Absolutely. We have always scaled the green region based on a player's arm accuracy. But new to this year, the blue region is now going to scale as well. On screen, you'll see the difference between a 50, a 75, and a 99, and just how drastic and helpful that change can be.
So our 99 arm accuracy guys are going to be able to execute those perfect throws at a higher clip. Defense is going to matter this year in MLB The Show 25.
Speaking of defense mattering, one of my favorite new additions to gameplay this year is the new home run rob meter and the changes there. Y'all know I love robbing my home runs. Shout out Jason Dominguez. He always comes in clutch. Gil, talk me through the home run rob meter.
Yeah, excited about this new feature. We changed the art. So essentially in years past, the timing of robbing a home run was when the meter got to the top, it was basically telling you when the ball was going to cross over the plane of the fence. And the problem with that is that the animations had to be adjusted through speed of like faking how fast it went or how slow it went because they didn't line up perfectly. So now the new change is a whole new system where you can see on the screen the new green region is in the middle of the meter. And what that's allowing you to do is it gives you the ability to jump or use the jump button a little bit earlier or right on time if you get there at the right time. And what I mean by that is if I'm running full speed at the warning track and the line is getting into the green region, I can hit jump as I'm getting on the warning track and he will slow down, wait for it, and jump. And so we have a lot of animations, a lot of new home run animations that come from every angle and all the timings from standing and running. So everything's covered. The only thing that's going to matter is your attribute in fielding. So you better have some good fielders out there because that's going to be the difference where you can catch it or not.
So I'm hearing way more intelligent animations when it comes to these home run robberies. Right?
100%. Yeah, that's exactly right, Carson. That's the thing. It's like we were limited on what we could do because of the way that the system worked. And now that we changed the system, it allows us to get there early. You'll see stutter steps, then jump. You'll see climbing the walls from every angle. So if you have those weird cutouts at different stadiums, you'll be able to navigate those awkward cutouts, and it just depends, so the green's going to tell you when you could hit jump, and it's not necessarily going to be there when the ball's crossing the wall like it used to. So it's pretty straightforward when you get your hands on it, and we'll show you, soon when we're playing live how it works.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome change.
You heard it here first. Defense continues to matter even more so in MLB The Show 25. And it's all about squad building and really picking out the attributes that are going to give you the highest advantage as you're fielding different plays from the infield to the outfield. I mean, hey, time in Dynasty, we're going back to that year-long power curve. We're going to have a lot of under-the-radar guys that might have, bronze, silver hitting, but that defense, that gold, maybe some diamonds in the roughs that are going to have those higher attributes are going to be incredible to really flex out your Diamond Dynasty squad to make sure you're staying within the games. I mean, hey, Gil, who are you throwing out in the outfield when you play me next week in the Dev Tourney?
All 99s, I hope.
Whoa.
But I'm telling you, you hit the point, and in terms of team building, and cards matter, whether you're playing first base and the pick attribute or your fielding attribute to see if you're picking the ball, if you're a middle infielder, your reaction time, outfielders start transitions, rob home runs. Every single thing about our defense, arm accuracy, arm strength, all of those attributes matter. And over time, you're going to see so many positive results because you have a solid defense.
So defense is going to continue to get a ton of new work in MLB The Show 25. I mean, we've talked about this a ton with Ramon, Chris, Connor, Ashley. It's something that we've just been building on, right? Like defense, you see it with the outfield. Now you're seeing the transitions with the infield, and it's something that we want to just continue to keep building and kind of show you guys in real time what's happening under the hood. That goes a lot into this attribute exposure that users are going to see in 25. Connor, talk to me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, in some of these videos you've probably seen diamond badges showing up under the feet, bronze badges showing up under the feet, blue, green, red, yellow arrows shooting out from the feet. Those are basically exposing a lot of these under the hood things that are constantly happening. They're often extremely subtle, but when we start tying colors from red to yellow to green to blue, and you start tying those specific actions that are happening in game to these sorts of things, it really starts to help you understand exactly what's going on and why these players are making the mistakes they're making or making the amazing plays.
Yeah, it's all about just showing you guys what's happening, especially on the defensive end, because there's so much that can happen in terms of branching to an animation, in terms of executing it out. And our goal is to just continue to show you guys that stuff and, continue to iterate on all this great defensive work that we're putting in. We've talked a lot about gameplay, but there's something else that the gameplay's been working on too that doesn't get enough credit, and that's the player lock, Road to the Show, first person, kind of way to play MLB The Show. And there's a lot of new additions here, Chris, starting with the first person cam on defense.
Yeah, the first person cam is awesome. Some of these things I'm going to be talking to you about, I just want to make sure you understand all the stuff that we're putting into Road to the Show and Player Lock are going to be tied to the attributes as well. So the better you train your guy up in Road to the Show, the better you're going to be at doing all these things. The first person cam, it's really cool. I think it's one of my new favorite additions, only because it's just like being able to play from this first person perspective and seeing the ball come down and land. You can see in these videos that we're showing you here. It's awesome. So the cool thing is it's not an option in the menus. It's an option literally on your screen that you can go in or out of at any time. So literally in the middle of a play, I can start in third person. As I'm going to chase a fly ball, I can go into first person, and then vice versa. Super cool.
I can confirm. I turned 2 as second baseman in the first person cam, and it felt like I was literally in
the big leagues?
Yeah,
you thought you were in the big leagues?
No, I think it was in the minors, but
that's okay.
Still solid.
Yeah, it is solid. I agree to that.
Let's talk to some of this other stuff in the player lock. I mean, we got first base, third base, catcher cut ball. Talk to me a little more about that, Chris.
Yeah, so the first base, third base, and catcher cut ball feature, they're two separate features. So one is for if you're playing the corner position, you're going to be responsible for lining up throws from the outfield. So depending on impact plays and how many you get, so we try to really go into Road to the Show and Player Lock, and very specifically not give you the same plays over and over again, right? So it's important for us to have a variety of different plays for every single position. So the cut ball feature, which is really cool, if I'm playing first base, certain times in certain situations there'll be routine base hits to the outfield. Either as a first baseman, I'm responsible for cutting that ball if it's hit to center or to right. So I have to go line that ball up for home. And when the ball is thrown offline, it's my responsibility to cut that ball and then redirect that throw, like you can see in these videos here, by using the icons, and choose which base you want to throw to. So you're gonna have to make that decision. You have 3 seconds to make that decision as the game slows down, and we call them quick time events. You make that decision and you make the throw. Same thing for a catcher. So when I'm catching, I have to be the general on the field. I have to take charge. My corner infielders are going to come in, and I'm gonna have to make a decision for them to cut the ball to second or home or third, whatever's the most applicable.
Yeah, and it's just making this gameplay feel even more real, especially in these player lock moments. So if you're playing, I like player locking into franchise mode sometimes, and then of course there's Road to the Show. tons of new gameplay features there, and it'll feel really, really good. Just, controlling your one player, working your way through the game.
Cool. Yeah, and I will say, I want to add too that you can play with a bunch of different options. You don't have to do it like this. You can play every single play if you want. You can play impact plays, right? You can only hit. You can do all of it. So you have that option.
Giving you guys what you want.
Giving them what they want. Now, we've talked about different QuickTime events for the actual fielders. We have some new player lock additions for the runners. Chris, talk to me about this new base runner swim move that we know Ellie De La Cruz does in the gameplay trailer.
Yeah, so everybody's seen that, and you're seeing a couple examples here on the screen, but the swim move's super cool, and we tried to put it in to make it as organic as possible so nobody could kind of trick the game to figure out when it's going to pop up. It's very timing specific, and it will only happen at second, third, and at home, obviously. And the play has to be within certain thresholds. So if I'm trying to stretch a single into a double, or if I'm trying to go first to third or second to home, this thing is organically going to pop up, give you an opportunity to kind of trick the catcher, trick the third baseman, trick the second baseman, make them think that you're coming in with your left hand or right hand, and then flip them and swim over it. But I will say, if you mess up on the swim move, you're going to be out. So,
so make sure you got the stick skills to pull it off.
Yeah,
lots of great changes.
The QuickTime event properly.
Yeah, some great additions to player lock. We're excited for everyone to get their hands on it.
The last update we have for all of you before you are joined with us on the couch playing this live is all of our quality of life fixes. Connor, we have some good ones this year.
Oh wow, there are a lot of them. A while back we sent out a survey. We got some really, really good feedback about pause timers, and especially in online play. So Ashley, what is the first thing people do when they load into a BR game?
Well, Connor, a person who has their plan together will warm up their pitchers.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of good players will know immediately to warm up their pitchers off the rip. That is no longer needed. Warming up pitchers, not a thing anymore in online play. Pitchers are going to come in fully warm, ready to go, so you're not going to constantly be having people pausing to go warm up their next guy based on the lefty-righty matchups coming up.
So we wanted you load into that Battle Royale, that ranked game, to play right away, not spending the first 30 seconds warming up your bullpen, but that's not all in the pause timer department, Connor.
Basically, everyone wanted reduced pause timers, so no more 3 minutes and 30 seconds waiting inside the menus. It's trimmed down to a minute 30, and in co-op, it is shared team timers now.
Speed of play, it just got a whole lot faster, but there's a few more quality of life changes that we will get to in the live stream. Connor, any little sneak peeks for the people?
Yeah, we're trying to really show what's important during part of the game that you're at. So while you're batting, if you're holding R2 to see pitch history, we have some stuff there that's going to help you choose which side you want to ambush. We have a lot of D-pad changes. We have just tons of online cleanup that's been done. We're looking forward to just breaking it down with all of you.
We've shown you a ton of the great new additions in MLB The Show 25. I think it's time to just get our hands dirty and start playing.
Going down, Gil.
Let's go.
MLB The Show fans, what is going on? Thank you so much for joining us. We are here with the gameplay gurus, Connor and Chris. I'm Carson, and of course, Ashley Sanders is here. We are so excited for everyone to be here, watching everything new in gameplay. That pre-record was a banger. I think everyone enjoyed it, and we're excited to go live now, answer some questions, and just kind of dive even deeper to some of these features we're adding.
Absolutely. But before we forget, Twitch drops are active. You can earn up to 3 of them as we continue this conversation. And you know what? Gil, Connor, Carson, there has been a lot of good commentary. We have the Twitch chat up in front of us. So why not kick it off with ambush hitting, everything that you all want to know about it. But before we get into the bigger details, Gil, where did ambush come from?
Well, Ashley, thanks for asking. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Ambush came from, and I read a lot of the comments, some of the stuff that we've already put out. A lot of people were talking about that it's the same as guest pitch. And it's funny going back all those years and thinking about how we came up with guest pitch. It's very similar approach, but it's totally different. This has been an idea that came a while back, but it took some time to actually get into the game. It's a little bit more difficult, I think, than people might realize to, create the balance once you get something like this in the game. But the idea really stems from having an approach at the plate. So, all big leaguers, and I should say all high-level baseball players actually in high school and college and in the big leagues are generally taught to have an approach when they come to the plate, have a plan, right? Early in the count, when they're in the head of the count, they're going to hunt. They're going to hunt for fastballs usually. I mean, that's usually the approach unless a guy's just somebody that has a scouting report that's been, knows a guy starts them with first pitch sliders or first pitch curveballs, then they might be hunting those, right? And generally they're going to look for that pitch either in or away. And so ambush kind of came more about for our game, and very similarly to how it's used in real life. If a guy's throwing 100 plus miles an hour, even 92, actually 93, if they can locate, which generally most big league pitchers can, that plan is going to be for them to split that plate in half. I'm going to look in or I'm going to look away. And generally that's going to come from years of experience of facing those guys, having really solid scouting reports, similar to what you guys are going to have now this year in MLB The Show. And we'll get to that a little bit later on in this stream. But you got to cheat a little bit, right? So if I'm going to catch up to a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in, if I'm looking for that, if I'm hunting that fastball in, my hips are going to open up a little bit. I'm going to cheat. And we never really had that in our game. The idea of opening up early on an inside pitch, I got to get that bat head out in front, right? So it's very similar to real life in the physical aspect of cheating and opening that hip and getting your hands out. In the game, we're going to give you a little bit of a boost. That's why the PCI gets bigger, like you already saw, right? The PCI is going to get bigger on the half that you choose, and on the half you don't choose, it gets smaller. And so how that translates to real life is opening up those hips a little early if I'm going to pull a ball, or getting the weight more on the balls of my feet if I'm going to drive the ball the other way if I'm looking for it on the outer half of the plate. So the idea really stems from real life. It's that same approach that they have in real life, and in our game it gives you that little advantage of the same advantage you get in real life, that cheating advantage of opening those hips, right? So we're going to give you a little bit of a boost on your timing, and we're going to make your bat bigger. Essentially, that PCI is going to get a little bigger, and then when you guess wrong. And so here's a really good point, too. So things that you see when you're watching a big league game on TV. If you guys, a lot of you know this because you're all baseball people, but if you're watching a big league game, you can almost tell what a hitter is looking for based on his reaction. So let's just say a guy's up there, 0-0 count, and he's looking for a fastball in, and you're going to see him open his hips a little bit and start to cheat. If that fastball's thrown on the outer half of the plate for a strike, that pitch to him is going to look like it's probably 3 to 6 inches off the plate because he's looking in. And the same on the opposite side. If I'm looking for a fastball away and that guy busts me in on a fastball in the black, that pitch is going to look like it's 3 to 6 inches in.
Yeah,
okay?
Totally.
Yeah, so you're going to see guys kind of jump back as if the ball's going to hit them because their approach is looking the other way. So essentially it's the same thing in our game. So I know that people have kind of the way that we have our presets for our PCI, and you can sit in certain locations. It kind of starts there. You can do that if you're going to ambush. Personally, I like to use it when I'm ahead in the count.
Yeah.
For me, it's a strategic thing. So I use it very similar to the way I hit in real life and the way I think a lot of major league hitters hit in real life.
So it sounds like, Gil, ambush hitting is completely optional, pitch by pitch by pitch.
It is, and you'll see a little OSD below the strike zone that tells you can select the left side of the plate or the right side of the plate. You can go in the options for the clean screeners out there. You guys could turn that off because once you get the hang of it, you really don't need that up there anymore. And then you can actually, at the very last, you can do it all the way up to the pitch release. So you can go back and forth, and right before he releases the ball, you can be set on which side of the plate you want to be on. And if you, at the last second, don't want it, you can cancel it.
Yeah, so this is just something that you guys are going to be able to use. You're going to have that approach just like MLB players have, kind of what Gil's saying here. And you can kind of pick your spots with it. Like you said, when you're ahead in the count, like I have a 3-1 count, and I think that fastball is coming up and in, I'm going to ambush it, and I'm going to try to make him pay. So it's going to be completely optional. Pick your spots. But it's just another way to kind of have that MLB approach while playing our game.
It is. Well, sorry. The one thing I wanted to say too, I'm going to let Connor talk because I just interrupted. I'm sorry, Connor.
No, I don't mind.
I tend to do that, but I do want to bring this up before I forget. You can go to go on YouTube and just look up a very specific one. You got, I think it was Harold Reynolds was interviewing Freddie Freeman on his grand slam that he hit in the World Series. And he talks about hunting the pitch that he hit out. He was talking about getting, I think he was looking at the scouting report from Ohtani, and he was looking at how the lefty was throwing Ohtani so that he could have a plan when he stepped up to the plate, and he was getting cutters and sliders away. So he said, I didn't want to chase. I wanted to look for something in, and he hoped that he would throw him something middle in. Well, sure enough, he got that pitch, right? So that's exactly what ambush hitting is, and that's exactly what Freddie Freeman did at that time at the plate, and they all do it, right? Yeah, I talk to big leaguers that come in here, and I love this. Throughout development, for the last 8 or 9 months, we've had different big leaguers come in here. Colin's had guys come in here. He comes and introduces them to us, and all the position players that come in, every single one of them, I talk to them about this new mechanic in the game. And half of those guys love playing our game. So they know how it translates from real life into our game. And so they're super excited about the feature.
Yeah, and it's just going to be that layer, an extra layer of hitting and pitching, right? That song and dance you have with the guy throwing the ball.
Totally. And I think, Connor, why don't you talk about the pitching side of it too? Totally. Because this isn't just for hitters.
Yeah, I think before we dive into the pitching side, Colin, if you don't mind, can you pull up the visual we have? We just want to quickly touch on exactly how ambush is impacting gameplay. What you're going to see on screen is basically when let's just say you're playing on all-star difficulty, that center dot you see on screen. If you ambush correctly, it basically gets roughly a difficulty easier to hit in terms of your timing windows and the size of your PCI and how it scales. When you ambush incorrectly, it's basically 2 difficulties harder to hit in terms of your inner and outer PCI and your timing windows that are going to be required to put the ball in play. So it's definitely a risk and reward. And to dive into the pitcher side of things, what you're going to notice is, like in online play, the pitcher is not going to know exactly what you're doing. So, which is huge, because it's going to constantly be that cat and mouse game of, okay, I keep throwing sinkers in. Do I need to change it up? Or this guy's smashing sinkers in. What is he ambushing inside? Is he ambushing away? And that strategy is crazy. It's fun stuff.
Yeah, it is. That's the part I like about it too. It's you are shrinking your PCI size. But if I'm looking just like in real life, if I'm looking for a fastball away and a guy hangs me a curveball in, and I see that thing and it lights my eyes up, I can get my PCI and still get a perfect, right? Right. So it doesn't really necessarily change your whole approach. So if something lights your eyes up, you can swing on the other half of the plate.
Yeah, you can still make them pay. It might just be a little harder to time it up if you are picking the wrong side of the plate, right?
Just slightly on the timing side of things. It's really more of just the bat getting a little bit smaller. So, yeah, there is a penalty on the opposite side for sure.
Yeah, I'm seeing tons of W's in the chat. We're so excited to get you guys this feature in 25. I think it's really going to change the way you play as a hitter and as a pitcher, like Connor mentioned. So,
and really, to just address a question real quick that I have been seeing in chat, this is not the same as guest pitch, right, Gil Connor? The pitcher has no idea which side of the plate I'm ambushing.
Yeah, we should correct that for sure. Make sure people totally understand it. Is nothing. It's similar in terms of like you're looking for a location, but one of the things, and I'll go back to what I said about choosing one half of the plate. You're not going to know whether the guy's throwing in that zone. The guess pitch feature actually will highlight. If you guess correctly, it'll highlight. You could do both. You could guess the location. You can guess the pitch type, and you get different feedback. But it's always going to tell you before it gets to the plate, and that's the arcadey style of it, right? So this is actually a real sim. This is you just essentially getting a little boost for things that you were kind of already doing before, maybe looking in or looking away, but you're getting that cheat.
Yeah, and remember, this is completely optional. It's by pitch. Like if you like it one pitch, you can use it. You don't have to use it. You can always cancel out by clicking R3.
Yeah.
So tons of flexibility for hitters. You can use this to your advantage, or you can just continue to hit the way you like to hit before.
Yeah, and the other thing that's cool is like I talk to people around the studio, guys that have been playing this for the last couple of months since it's been finished, and everybody has like a totally different like kind of approach to the way that they do it. The guy that's sitting next to me here that's actually playing the game, Dre's
Shout out
Dre. Dre, well, what's your approach? What do you like to do?
I like to sit on the handedness of the pitcher. So for instance, if I have a right-handed batter and it's a right-handed pitcher, I'm probably going to ambush to the inside of the zone. But if it's a right-handed batter and it's a lefty, then I'm going to set that ambush to the outer side of the zone, just because that's where I like to set my PCI at when the ball's coming in. So this is just easier for me to keep it on that side. So if he wants to pick that side and I'm already on that side, should be good money.
Yeah, there you go. And I think he also told me the same thing kind of I do is I don't really use it with 2 strikes or when I'm behind in the count. I always use it when I'm ahead in the count. Every once in a while I will. Every once in a while. I'm telling you, Ashley.
Gotta throw them off their rhythm. I mean, you can tell me, Gil. I'm not taking notes over here.
Yeah, we can't give out our full plans.
I think another thing to note is you can still use PCI Anchor with this addition as well,
Yes.
which is very cool. And in terms of PCI Anchor, we've added a few just quality of life things. Dre, if you don't mind pausing real quick and going into settings and settings gameplay, and then scroll down a bit. What you're going to see under PCI Anchor is now you can preset how you want your PCI Anchor to sit for if you're middle center, like where you want it to set versus the handedness matchup. So right here you're going to see Dre scrolling through, and basically it's making it so that you're not always having to click the left stick and lock it in every single pitch, which is just a nice quality of life addition. So
yeah, and that's some of the stuff too you're going to talk about later too. We're doing a lot of work, especially in competitive play and 2-player modes, where we're putting the pertinent information up on the screen, so you don't got to go hunt for it in the options menu, which speeds gameplay up quite a bit. And again, we're going to get more into that when we talk about quality of life stuff.
I will say real quick, seeing a lot more W's in the chat, Connor, when you pulled up, or Dre as well, the pause menu, seeing all the overlay changes. People are excited.
yeah, we have a ton of settings. There's so many different players we like to cater our game for, and everyone likes to play the game in a different way. So our menus, one of our biggest internal struggles when having to navigate them is they were clunky, and they just feel cleaner now. And we're continuing to iterate upon them, and we're excited with where they're at. Much quicker to navigate, but we'll keep improving.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes from the feedback we get from all you guys listening out there. You guys, whether you think we do or we don't, we listen to what you guys say, the good and the bad. We read it all. So just understand that we're building this game for you guys, not for us.
Yeah, and we're just going to keep hearing that feedback. The menus are such a W. Just going through them this cycle, it's been night and day compared to some of the years before. So
it's amazing.
great stuff.
All right, everybody in Twitch chat, keep your questions rolling, whether it's ambush hitting, more questions as we go through more topics. We will have another quick Q&A section at the very end. But for now, we will move on from ambush hitting and talk the new fielding throwing meter.
Let's do it. Did you want to throw up that the vision on the screen, and then behind the scenes here, we're going to change what
Some of our dev kit
what
stuff,
Dre is doing. So we'll switch over the gameplay to ground balls. So go ahead and use the widget, Dre, and go ahead and put it into all ground balls so that we can show the infielders
Just
more.
a reminder for everyone, we're on a PS5 dev kit, so that's what you guys are seeing right now.
Normal PS5, not a PS5 Pro or anything.
And yeah, so pretty much we have widgets on this. This is an internal build, and Dre can,
What do you mean, Carson?
manipulate the ball so we can show you guys what we want to see. So we'll be doing a bunch of fielding.
Ashley, I know you mentioned throwing. I think Dre's setting up reaction, correct? Were you setting up reaction just now, Dre?
No, he's just going to put in ground balls, and then we'll
Okay.
be able to talk about everything. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that's perfect.
Absolutely. So, Connor, do you want to remind the audience of how that throw meter has changed from last year into this year with the blue region moving?
Yeah, Colin, if you don't mind, can we bring up that visual again, please?
Throw meter.
Fielding.
No,
Hey, there
Yeah,
we go.
so what you're going to see here is basically we only listed 50, 75, and 99, but I saw that gold's also, there were questions in the chat as for, did you guys just skip over gold? No, we just wanted to simplify it to 50, 75, and 99. What you're going to see is in previous years that blue did not scale. It was always one constant size regardless of your attributes. The green scaled, but not the blue. Now we are scaling the blue perfect region pretty significantly, and another change is that the blue is now at the end. The challenge of those throws in real life is very difficult to throw online, and we just realized that with the implementation of perfect throws years back, it was a game changer, and we wanted to basically make them a little more challenging since people were getting them so frequently. So it's kind of that risk reward type thing now where I'm often opting into only going for a good throw in specific situations, and always
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just going to see a ton of changes with the throw meter. You're going to have, based on a player's arm accuracy, you're going to get that bigger blue zone for perfect throws. So you're going to have to make a decision on who you want in the field. Do you want that power bat, or do you want a little more arm accuracy for some of these guys throwing the ball?
Yeah, so let's just talk a little bit about reaction time, okay? So let's get into one of the bigger changes. And we talked about it a little bit in the stream right before this. You guys heard me talking about how we've had outfield start transition animations in the game for quite some time. That opened up the offense a little bit more for more doubles to land, right?
Tons of gappers in the outfield, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think essentially the problem that we had was when you have everybody, doing the perfect jump every single time, all you could rely on was speed. So if I had a slow guy in the outfield, maybe he wouldn't get to a gapper, where if I had a fast guy, he would get to that ball. We changed that years ago, and that made a huge difference in allowing, the offensive side to get what they deserved, the gappers and the balls down the line. So you'll see really bad jumps. So we have misjudges, which are different than the start transitions. We have 4 layers of start transitions in the outfield. They're very specific. Like on line drives hit right at an outfielder, depending on their attribute. If I have a low-rated guy, a lot of times you'll see him get what we call a misjudge. So they'll take a step forward and go, oh, darn, and then have to go back to go get the ball, right? On balls hit to their right or to their left, they might jab, to the opposite direction and then go to the right direction. And that is how we're able to separate talent and ability and make a big difference of making defense matter, right? And so when let's just say if I'm in DD, and this matters everywhere you're playing across our game, but if I'm in DD and I care about I need to care about my defense, I'm going to be giving up more runs than I should be, depending on who I have out there in the outfield. So I'm really going to look for guys that are at least 70 up in the outfield. So on average, I'm going to get better jumps in the outfield and get those balls. So what we did this year was we brought that to the infield. And so what's hard in terms of animation and speed, we already had reaction time for infielders, but that's different than what we added, okay? Reaction time for infielders used to just mean how quickly you move when the ball hit the bat.
Right.
And generally, your corner infielders are going to move before your middle infielders are going to move. And so there were very specific times, hundreds of seconds, and it really didn't make a huge difference in terms of getting to a ball or not. So what we did is we added animations where the perfect jump for an infielder on a start transition is literally just a crossover straight to where the ball is going. And the green, which is still good, is a very slight hundredths of a second difference in timing where he takes a slight stutter step,
but
and
even
then
that
goes.
hundredth of a second we've talked about makes a difference between a hit.
Yeah, and
so
and then the worst is going to be your common infielders, your bronze infielders. These guys are going to get a lot of that jab step before they go to the right or their left. And so aesthetically, when you watch the game, it's not going to look weird. If you put the same thing we did in the outfield, if you put that in the infield, it wouldn't make sense. Infielders just don't move the wrong way.
Right.
They see the ball and they move. But the timing is really important, and that's where the attributes matter. So now, if I got a ball, I can hit the ball in the same thing you just saw in the video before this stream. If you guys were tuned in, you saw the exact same hit. You saw 3 different plays. You saw a guy get to it easy with a blue start transition. That's a perfect.
Yep.
You saw a guy have to dive with a green start transition, the exact same hit. And then with the yellow start trans, he didn't even get to the ball.
Yeah.
So now what that does very specifically is it opens the offense up again, right? So now the defense is going to matter. I want guys that are out there, like I said, 70s and above, and it's scaled. So, you got your lower guys there, you're going to get tons of yellows. You get your higher guys there, you're going to get a bunch of greens and perfects.
Yeah.
So
keep that in mind. We want you to know that if you get that blue perfect start transition, you're going to be able to make the out. The green, it might take a slide. You might still be able to get it on your feet, but the yellows are going to really hurt you if you have a poor defender there in the infield.
Yeah, and it's and we were talking about this a little bit before the stream. Ashley and I were talking about, baseball's funny. A lot of stuff you don't really see in the stats in baseball. It takes a lot of time for you to see a difference in things. These are all Major League Baseball players, right? So when you're making a video game, you obviously have to make a difference. And some guys make errors and some guys make no errors. And so part of making this game as realistic as possible, we also have to understand the game needs to be fun and balanced, right? And so that is the challenge year in and year out that we have. And so when you talk about these start transitions and making sure that, you're getting the guys doing the right thing over time, Ashley and I were talking if you're a 950 fielder in the big leagues, you're not very good. Sorry, you're just not.
Which is crazy because you're making a play nine
more than 9 out of 10 times. So
Right.
people need to think about that. If you're a Major League Baseball player, it's not like I'm a terrible 3-point shooter, so I never shoot from 3 points. Because in basketball, you're either really good at it or you're not. And even the best ones have bad nights, right? In baseball, they're all making the routine plays, or they're not going to be out there. They're not going to be in the big leagues, right? And so that's why these averages, even though, it's funny because on defense, you get these, you're bad. Or I say bad, I'm sorry. But you know what I mean.
They're great players, but relative.
Great players are going to be higher up to closer to 1,000 over time. And that's over, 162 games, right? So that these guys are playing. Whereas when you're hitting, obviously, getting 300 these days is very difficult.
And you mentioned, we want to also make this fun, and we know that our fans have been very, very good at the traditional throw meter. We moved it a few years back. Everybody's now used to it. Now we add even more nuance by moving that blue region to the very end to keep challenging, having more high risk, high reward, to also make it as similar as possible to what we're seeing on the field as we're watching games in the evening. And Gail, I want to touch back to a point that you called out so perfectly. We have a lot of Diamond Dynasty audience tuning into this stream, and we have the year-long power curve returning, meaning we went from all 99s pretty much all of last year. That's not going to happen. We're going to see more and more of these misjudges as people are fielding silvers, golds, low diamonds. They're going to have a smaller green region, smaller blue region, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So off the rip on launch night, our fans are going to experience more and more of these fielding nuances that we're trying to implement with this new throw meter. So y'all, you're warned now. There's going to be some errors.
On screen now is a perfect example of what you can expect from a common fielder. You're going to see the common badge that showed up under the feet of that outfielder. He wasn't able to get to that fly ball because of his reaction. It's just the way the dice rolled, and I shouldn't say the way the dice rolled, but it's just the way that it played out. Because of his attributes, he's more likely to receive that misjudge, that red jump, whereas with a diamond, you would never see that. So that just goes to show the importance of fielding. And Colin, this guy just got a yellow jump as well, you're going to see this is a lot more common, and we're trying to expose these things that are happening under the hood to all of you to be able to make those informed decisions as for exactly what players' attributes are doing. Colin, if you don't mind, can you display the reaction visual?
Oh, you got the perfect
arm accuracy, the reaction ones. Apologies. Okay, well, they saw it earlier. Basically, reaction is changing based on the specific hit type, and those numbers are going to scale. The hit we showed in the video prior to this, a 99 was going to get a perfect jump 100% of the time, whereas a 50, I believe it was around 11% of the time that you get a perfect jump. I can't remember exactly what it was, but something around that. And those numbers are changing dynamically based on the hit. And then obviously with outfielders, you have that added level of red misjudges that they can get, which you guys saw a few plays ago. So
so what we're trying to just show you guys is that we're doing a lot of stuff with defense under the hood. We're trying to show you guys that more with these jumps, with the blues, with the yellows, with the greens, and then the outfielders even have the reds. The badges under are going to show you what these guys are good at, what they're not so good at, and you can use all that information to build your best lineup.
Yeah, I think a couple things to note here as you're watching Dre. We just finally got this set up. You saw me scrambling over here on these widgets trying to get the right setup. Dre's having trouble getting behind the ball there. I try to work with him. You got to get behind that ball, Dre. Seriously. Let's go. So a couple things. One is the throw meter. So I think Ashley started talking about the throw meter, right? And why we put the blue at the end. And so in real life,
common arm,
again,
Dre.
like everything we try to do is to just complement real life and be the best sim we possibly can. we know how difficult it is to get assist from the outfield. It's extremely difficult. Even if I'm a 99 guy, it's hard to throw a perfect dime all the way to third from right field or all the way to home from any position in the outfield. Part of what Connor was talking about was getting the bigger blue region, the bigger perfect region if I'm a better outfielder, right? So that's going to help if I have a 99 versus having a common guy out there where it's just going to be a sliver, and potentially on a really far throw he's not going to have anything, but it depends on his arm strength attribute and his accuracy, and all of that goes into combination, right? But the idea of moving the blue to the end, obviously we just needed more risk. It was such a high reward before, and having it in the middle of the green, there was zero risk.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you miss, you still got a good throw where the guy was still rooted at the base and was able to make a decent throw and put a good tag on the guy coming into the base. So playing it at the end, you situationally, I think it's probably going to be a little bit different how you use it. If I'm way ahead in the game and I really don't care, I'm going for it every time just because it's fun.
Yeah.
I might as well try to get the perfect, right?
Or even in a high leverage situation.
If I'm in a sweaty game,
yeah,
right? And let's just say I'm up by 2 and it's second and third. I'm just throwing a green to third, trying to keep that runner from second going to third and stay up by 1 run.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go perfect blue to home and nail that guy. It makes no sense
Just take
with less than 2 outs, right? So it's a strategic thing too in terms of how you play it. But like I said before, you can still, if you're really good on the sticks, you can get used to it, and you can hit it a lot more often than others, and people here are better than others, and they're showing that and proving that. So it's still possible, but it is a risk.
Yeah, I will say, just play testing the new throw meter. Like, you don't know pressure until you're playing MLB The 25 and you need to get it perfect when the game's on the line. Like, having it at the end of the green window is such a risk reward, like you talked about, but it makes for really like fun and attentive defense, which is kind of what we want, right?
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Again, everybody, keep your questions going. We're going to be moving on a little bit from our throw meter. We'll jump back at the very end for any last questions that you all throw in chat that we can answer best up until launch. But Connor, talk to us about attribute exposure. Our fans have been seeing all these little different symbols, all the different colors. What are we looking at here?
I mean, you just saw Dre struggling because of his attributes. Dre, if you don't mind, hold R2 and click the right stick, please. What you're going to see here are all the badges we're showing under the player's feet, minus the, which one are we not showing? Arm strength. What you're going to see is everybody's fielding attributes. So 53 fielding for Brian Reynolds, who keeps messing up in left right now. Common fielder, 50 reaction, 56 arm accuracy. Basically what we're doing is exposing the players that are struggling on specific plays when they're struggling, and really showing when those guys are getting great, when those diamond players are doing things exceptionally well consistently. We're trying to basically show the good players doing good things and expose why a player is not doing something successfully.
Yeah, you hit it. You hit it well, Connor. I mean, so you're not gonna, if you have like an 80 guy out there gold, you're not going to see any icons, and the reason being is because we're essentially trying to show you the reason why this guy keeps making mistakes is because he's a bronze or common player. So we're just force feeding you an example of why maybe this guy made an error, and then it's a reminder, I got to replace this guy. I got to get somebody better out there. I got to go, get another card to fill this team, right? I got to get somebody because he's killing me out here, right? And on the flip side of that, it's rewarding those of you that have those diamond fielders out there on defense, and it's showing, hey, look, I made this play. I made this great diving play, or I made this perfect throw because I had a 98 guy out there,
because the attributes matter.
Guy out there because the attributes do matter. So that's what we're showing. We're not gonna inundate you with icons every single time something's happening. There's a meaning behind them, and that's why we're putting them up there. And again, like everything you see on the screen, you have the option to turn them off. You don't have to play with these on. So it's really just for you. If you want them on there, you can go into options and turn them off if you want clean screen.
And to jump in real quick, everyone saw all those shields. The ratings are not final, but you can have a good example with that screen. But Connor, could you remind the people, how do they get that screen to pop up as they're playing?
In previous years it was just clicking the right stick down. With the implementation of PCI or of ambush hitting, we needed to free up space because resetting your PCI ambush is via the right stick. So now R2 plus R3 is what's going to pull up this screen.
Yeah, this is great. It's really nice being able to just like see the blue jump, that perfect jump, and then you go in and you go, oh yeah, this guy's a great defender. It just kind of makes everything make sense and tells that story for each player as to why they have good jumps or why they might not have so good jumps.
Yeah, Dre just made a play right there, and he was just surprised by that diamond fielder, and he dove over the ball, but you could see the difference. That's almost the exact same hit. He didn't need to dive on the first one. He could have got that standing up. He just kind of spazzed out on the buttons there for a second.
Dre just likes the theatrics,
Yeah.
you know?
He's getting a little sweaty because he knows we're on camera, and he's trying to be perfect here. So, but what you can tell is when you see these balls hit, like honestly, when you see a blue start transition and the guy doesn't get to the ball, you can pretty much guess that nobody's going to get to that ball. And if you see a yellow and he gets close to it, you can pretty much guess that a green or a blue would have got to that ball.
Uh-oh. Perfect.
Oh, Colin's alarm went off.
That was a good effort.
So attribute exposure, y'all see it right there. Everything is mattering when you're playing defense, different attributes affecting different motions of the defensive play. But I've been seeing a lot of it in chat. 2 things, and it's the sweeper and it's the GOAT difficulty. Connor, is the sweeper pitch new this year?
Yes, it is new to this year's game. A lot of players have it. Skeens has a really good one. I believe Otani has one as well. But it's a new pitch, definitely something to look out for.
And it's not replacing the slider. Don't worry. It's a new pitch. You're going to see it added to, what was it, like 160 players in the roster?
It's added, to
over
essentially whoever
160
has
players.
it.
Yeah, anyone that has it will have it in the game, which is really exciting. But it's a whole new look. People are using it more and more in real life, so it makes sense to excuse me, it makes more sense to add it to the game, right?
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of high risk, high reward, I mean, GOAT difficulty, Ashley, you brought that up. I mean, essentially it's just a new difficulty level, right? And it's not for everybody, of course. No. I mean, GOAT difficulty is for the best of the best, for sure. But we threw that out there just in terms of wanting to challenge people that are exceptional at the game. And honestly, it's just another milestone to try to reach, right? Like, we got Legend. I'm watching guys on streams that are psycho players that are literally scoring 14 runs on Legend, which I have no idea how they do this. Putting those guys on GOAT, let's see how they perform. All right. So why don't you throw a little bit of tidbits out there about how we're going to use GOAT?
Yeah, absolutely. So GOAT, once again, it's not going to be in everything, but you will have the opportunity to see GOAT difficulty, play through GOAT difficulty. If you reach 1,000+ rating in ranked, you will no longer be on Legend still. You will be on GOAT. I know y'all have seen some weekend classic teasers. Yes, you will also be on GOAT difficulty in the highest reward division. And then lastly, yes, it will be included in esports. More details for when you might see it later on. And then GOAT difficulty will be an option in most single player modes, just like Rookie, Veteran, All-Star, Hall of Fame, Legend. You have the opportunity to choose it. But in terms of online play, you're going to see it in the very rare 1,000+ ranked rating, the highest division in Weekend Classic. So don't worry. If it takes you a little while to get to GOAT, odds are you're not going to see it for a little bit, so it's going to be okay. I'm just subtweeting myself. I will not be seeing GOAT difficulty with 1,000+ rating.
I was going to say, this is for the best of the best. The pitches are going to come in fast. The breaks are going to be even more. We're excited to get it in for that tier of player.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
I mean, guys like me, we're not going to be touching GOAT.
Dre,
Yeah,
though,
I
I
can't.
mean, he kills it at the sticks.
I can't hit successfully on it, but from a gameplay standpoint, what you're going to really see is smaller PCI, bigger breaks, and on the pitching side of things, for hitting as well, smaller PCI, decreased timing window, so it's going to be much more challenging to square something up. And then also on the pitching side of things, your par is going to grow as well, so it's going to be a little bit harder to locate your pitches. And on top of that, the criteria for pinpoint is slightly more challenging as well.
What is
to
par,
get it perfect.
Connor? Like, there are a lot of people here probably don't even know what par is.
Par is your perfect accuracy region. If you get a perfect pitch with pinpoint, meter or pure analog, you're going to the pitch will land on or within that region.
So it's a little display that comes up on the screen, right?
And it guarantees you'll be in that
Correct.
section of the plate. Yeah.
Perfect.
Correct.
That's GOAT. So, yeah, we're excited for you guys to get your hands on it. The people that, are top-tier players will get to have a little bit more of a challenge. We talked a little bit about this in the pre-record. There's the new home run rob meter, which is something that I know a lot of people should be excited for. It's kind of
You want to go full screen, Colin?
a whole revamp of how you go about, robbing home runs in the game. The meter's kind of changed. It's a lot more intuitive with the animations, so you won't have to rely on, timing it up perfectly with the ball. It's more matching with the meter. We talked about this in the pre-record, but we'll do some live playing of it too, just so you guys can get a feel for it.
I'm excited for this. This is one of my favorite new additions to the game, as you all probably caught in the pre-record. Like, robbing home runs is kind of my thing. Jason Dominguez, for whatever reason, is just so fantastic with them. But because we're changing when and how you can press the jump button to rob these home runs, you're going to get new, different animations, different stutter steps, different fast slow down as you approach the wall. Gil, can you talk our fans through these?
Yeah, here, Dre, take these widgets. I'm trying to put one in here now so he has a chance.
We're setting it up for you.
We're getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
You guys get a sneak peek of how we kind of build the game and repeat hits on here so we can test stuff. The Rob home run is, I think it's a step way above what we've had in the past. And so essentially what we didn't have before, and I'll explain the differences, right? And I kind of explained it in the video and the stream right before this, was the meter itself would get to the top right when the ball was crossing the plane of the extended fence. If you were to draw a line straight up from the fence all the way up, as soon as the ball were to cross that, that's when it would get to the top and tell you to jump. And so we kind of had to manipulate the animations. They weren't all timed specifically for different timings of robbing a home run. So we had to manipulate the animation within reason, slow it down, speed it up a little bit to line them up. And then whether they caught the ball or not basically depended on whether or not his attribute was high or low. Yeah, right? And so the user has one job. The other job, well, he has two. His first job is to get a good player out there.
Yes.
Make
Jason
sure he has
Dominguez.
a high-rated fielder.
If you want to rob
his second job is to time it right. And so that's how it worked before. Now we put the meter in the middle, or the green region in the middle of the meter. So essentially what that does for us is, as I'm approaching the warning track and I'm within reason to jump. Obviously, if I'm 50 feet away from the wall and I hit jump, I'm just going to play a running jump. I'm not going to play a rob home run jump. They're only going to play from the beginning of the warning track on. So as that meter starts to grow and it gets into the green region, if I'm just approaching the actual the warning track, I can hit jump, and the timing of the animation is going to adjust. So he might slow down, like you were saying, Ashley, take some stutter steps, time it, and it doesn't matter what angle you approach that hit at. So like if I'm running from the gap and I'm running from left field, I'm going into the gap, or I'm center field and I'm going into the gap, to the right, to the left. We got some odd cutouts to navigate around those odd cutouts in certain stadiums, especially like the creative stadiums that people are building.
Oh, they're fun.
So essentially we're just, we've given you the opportunity to hit jump within a larger area region, and then the rest is going to be up to the attribute of the player. So there's all kinds. We have, I don't know the number that we have, but there's tons of them.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff, that'll be working for you under the hood, whereas before it was more just you having to do a lot in terms of timing. This will kind of sync everything up for you, and all you have to do is focus on hitting that meter in the green, which is cool. It's been fun to play with.
But as we work to get the home run rob meter set up for all of you, Connor, do you want to walk us through the last couple quality of life changes our fans can expect?
Yeah, we'll touch on a few of them right now. A lot of them were geared towards the online experience, but they'll impact offline as well. But the main things, we sent out survey to a lot of individuals and received some great feedback. Basically, what it came down to is games were just too long.
They're very long. People keep pausing on me.
You weren't playing the game. That was a problem.
Exactly. Once you load in, we want you to be playing the game actively and not trolling your opponents or griefing them. So we made some adjustments to pause timers. Pause timers across the board are 1:30.
1:30. Make your decisions and make them quickly.
1:30 max. You'll gain 15 seconds each time you're on offense, but it'll cap at 1:30. Consecutive pauses inside and constantly going in and out of the pause menu is going to drop your timer at 15 seconds, which it already was doing. But additional things are when you go into the quick menu. In previous years, your opponents were unable to do anything. They were just kind of stuck there. Now, if your opponent goes into the quick menu, you can also pause, navigate the menus, do whatever you want to do during that time.
You won't be held hostage in the pause menu.
Exactly.
Wow. Massive W.
That's huge.
Everyone's favorite, if you disconnect your controller.
Oh, goodness. But they'll like this.
Yeah, if your opponent disconnects their controller, you're not going to be asked, hey, do you want to forfeit yourself? Instead, it's just going to subtract from your pause time. In co-op, shared team timers.
Shared team timers. That's a big one. So no individual per 2, 3 teammates, depending on 2v2, 3v3.
Exactly. You got to be ready. You got to be locked in. Make sure that you're aligned with your team as for what changes you want to make, because you're at a minute 30 as well. These numbers we can tweak based on feedback as well. So just let us know if you feel like it's too little time in co-op, or on the other side too much.
Yeah, we'll be listening.
And there's just been a lot of other quality of life changes when it comes to D-pad. When you go left or right, now that's pulling you straight into subs or bullpen. When you're in the bullpen, you don't need to warm up pitchers, as we mentioned. In offline play, you have an option to be able to toggle this if you still want that realistic experience, kind of managerial type decision making as well. But a lot of changes that will hopefully speed up online play and just clean things up. And just other things like if you go up on the D-pad, for example, you're basically seeing a quick menu version of pitcher batter analysis.
Yes.
So which pairs up very well with ambush hitting and being able to pick up on tendencies of your opponent.
So you can look at that, and then that can help if you want to say, hey, he's throwing me inside all day. Now you have ambush to kind of combat that.
Yes.
Exactly. Complete revamp of the quick menu, pause menu system. And also, we're not going to touch on it but too much, but if you go into settings, there's options to kind of update what you see when you hold R2 between your pitch history. You can sort it based on pitcher handedness. You can do different things in there. And hopefully it's stuff we can expand on in the future.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, we're just trying to give you all the information you need as quickly, as readily as possible, so then you are as informed if you're at the plate, if you're on the mound, to do what you need to do to go 1v1 with your opponent as you progress throughout your game. Home run rob meter.
Are we cooking with gas?
Are we cooking?
Yeah, he's been doing the Rob home run meter. I haven't been paying attention to anything you guys are talking about. I'm over here trying to get Drake straightened out with this, getting these hits in here.
There we go. Oh.
Yeah, this is the beauty of doing things live.
Let's go.
You know?
So, yeah, you can see the new home run meter.
We got it. This is so just so everybody knows, this is a different setup in this room here where they do all the videoing and for these streams that we're doing. So we're not used to how they have things set up. So we're kind of struggling with these widgets. It's not set up the way that we have it, but we're set now.
Yeah, it looks
we got
good.
some Rob home runs. I think we described. Is there anything more in Rob home runs you guys want to talk about? I think we're good.
We stopped talking about it while you guys were.
Yeah, look at that. He's hanging on the.
He's just showing it here is perfect.
Yeah, he's killing it. I love it. But there's some questions that we had to answer too. Is that from the community? Were we going to talk about some of the? I saw a couple fielding ones. There was one that stuck out to me, Ashley, and someone was asking why. Can we go to the questions? Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right. I don't want to get off track.
It's
I don't want
live.
to get yelled at when this thing's over. But I did want to hit on a couple of these questions. So one of them, some guy asked, why does my infielder keep running after he catches the ball sometimes before he throws it? And so it's hard for me to know exactly what he's saying, but I think I know what he means. And so going back the years, there's a lot of people probably listening today that haven't played our game for years, but most of you guys are probably veterans at playing the game, and you understand how important preloading your throw is. And preloading means that you have to throw the ball before you catch it. You don't have to, but if you throw the ball before the attach frame, so when the ball attaches to the glove on any single catch, you're going to get the absolute very best throw you possibly can get based on that player's fielding ability. Okay, so what that means is if I have, let's say, a bronze guy at shortstop, I'll give you an example, and I go in the hole and I wait for him to catch the ball and then I throw. The way we do our animations is he's going to run out of the catch. So he's going to take a couple extra steps if you don't throw at all, and then he's going to stop. Okay? And then what we do is we have branch points within each one of those moves. So each foot that goes down, we have another branch point. So right at the catch, left foot down or right foot down, then left foot down or right foot down, and they can throw on either one. So if you miss the branch point, you're going to hit the very next one. And then at the very end, if you don't do anything at all, you throw from the standing pose, whatever pose he's in at the end. So that's the different layers, and that's kind of how we built our tiered system. So our tiered system works this way. Even if I preload and I got a common guy playing shortstop, he's probably going to, he's going to miss that first branch point the majority of the time. He's going to hit the next foot down or the second foot down. And that's what I think this kid was asking. I shouldn't say kid. It could be a man, it could be a woman, could be anybody. I don't know who asked the question. But that's what he's probably talking about. And I'll say that if you preload your throw, then no matter what, the attributes are going to take care of the rest. So essentially the lower tier guys are going to miss that first branch point. If I have a 99 guy, I'm going to hit that first branch point every single time, get the most efficient throw possible. And that's how the tiered system works.
Right. And that goes into preloading your throws is so important, but then also the attributes will make a difference. Just like these reactions, just like, the outfielder jumps. The branch points too, like having those guys that can play defense is really going to matter this year, and you're going to feel it while you play.
100%.
Another question that we have coming in, and we kind of touched about this earlier, but just to kind of reiterate, our fans want to know, what's the most important fielding rating when it comes to defense? What has the most impact as they're experiencing all these new meters and animations to get the best play possible?
What do you think, Connor?
What's
the most important, Connor?
Spotlight
on Connor. Let's go.
Connor on the spot.
I don't think there is one, to be completely honest. I think that they all work together in such unique ways. And it really depends on the hit and the situation. Like if it's a gapper to the outfield and there's a runner on first and he's rounding third to go home, then I'm probably looking at his arm accuracy and arm strength. Whereas other situations, I am really focused on his reaction. So it's important to be a well-balanced overall diamond defensive player. But it would be tough. Gil, what do you think?
Well, I would say a little bit different, and I agree with you that they're all important. But I would start with fielding, because if you don't catch the ball, you can't do anything else, right? So for me, fielding would be the number one thing. I need to catch the ball, right? Playing catch.
Just like that, as he just dropped the ball.
Dre's booting balls left and right out there. Let's go. Come on. So I would say fielding, but I like to build my teams basically the way you build a real team. So I want a strong arm in right field. I want a strong arm at short. Also good fielding. Accuracy is really important in our game, but here's the thing. If you're really good at the sticks, you could probably sacrifice the accuracy a little bit, right? So all of you out there that are really good, at the game and playing it for a long time, accuracy is the one thing that I'd probably maybe give a little bit, because it's really up to you. It's just going to make it harder for you, because we make the meter harder if your accuracy is low.
Right.
And what do you say? I see a lot of people are saying they prefer the best reaction time of attributes.
Well, they'll like it more now.
I'm spoiling your rhythm.
No, it's okay. But I was going to say, obviously the newest addition this year would be, so that was a good point. Whoever brought that up, maybe that should be before fielding, because if I don't even get to the ball, I can't catch it.
Right.
Right. So, very important for both infielders and outfielders this year.
Yeah, I think just watching these clips, you're seeing how often reaction is impacting gameplay, and it's exciting. We're continuing to try to improve the meaning of defense and improve just how much it's impacting gameplay.
Yeah, defense mattered. I mean, we've been talking about this year after year. You guys probably get sick of us talking about it, but we keep finding new ways to do that. And the other thing I'll say is, like, some of these things, I don't know, to some, I read, like I said, I read all the negatives and all the positive comments. It's okay, keep it coming. It doesn't bother us. On the negative side, I really appreciate the positives. How hard these guys work, and our animators and our programmers work, and how hard it is to get a lot of these features in. They may on the surface sound like simple things, but they're extremely difficult when you have a game that's been standing as long as ours has, and just to shoehorn these things in is not just simple as just saying put it in and get it done in a week. These things take time, and we really pride ourselves in the balancing side of things as well. And so that's what's really important. So once we get something in, first of all, we got to find out if it's fun, and second of all, we got to make sure it works.
Yeah, and it feels good, and
it feels
it's not breaking anything else. Yeah, for sure. It's a good call out. I'm seeing a couple questions about the sweeper. I know everyone's excited to have that in the game. It won't be replacing the slurve. It won't be replacing the slider. It'll be a new pitch that you guys will see, which is exciting.
Yeah, just broadening the repertoire.
it's going to give me a lot of trouble at the plate.
It might. Yeah.
It's hard to pick up. I've been swinging and missing a whole bunch, but from ambush hitting, the new throw meters, reactions, home run rob, attributes, quality of life changes, any other last questions, answers that we want to throw in before we see you all next week?
I think I would just like to highlight, I see a lot of people commenting freeze-offs.
Yes.
And that's a big thing. We are, rest assured, we are always working to get rid of these. There's so many different things that can go wrong in an online environment, and we are constantly trying to address these. We're working all the time to provide the best online experience. We dislike them even more than you guys do, maybe. I know they're frustrating, especially when it happens, but we are constantly addressing these, working through them, creating new bugs. Our QA team's doing a great job, and we're constantly trying to hammer these out. So bear with us, and we'll keep improving this year upon year.
Yeah, for sure. Stability is always something that's a top priority, so we're going to continue to work and make sure everything is as smooth as possible.
And lastly, we have some player lock quick time events, Gil.
Yeah, are we ending on the player lock stuff?
Let's do it. Why not?
We're
I think
going to
that
get
sounds
into
great.
that.
Some people saw the first person cam
Yes.
defense, which was freaking awesome. The player lock stuff has really come a long way this year. I think you guys are really going to like it.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult actually for us to show all this stuff right now. Dre's going to try, so you're going to see some scrambling over here on the screen while we're doing it. But we got quite a few different quick time events that we added to Player Lock Road to the Show this year. Super fired up about, honestly, just the baseball side of things when we added these things. Because, again, everything we add, I want it to translate from real life, right, into the game.
And you played in real life. Do you want to give people some background to that real quick?
Not really.
Feels like that's in my past.
I played Little League.
Oh, my God, I'm so old, you guys. That's fine. Who did I play against? I played against a lot of people. I mean, I played at Long Beach State for 4 years, and I played with the Reds for 5 years in the minor leagues, and got to play in big league spring training, so that was fun. I think that was in 90 or 91. Can't remember, but it was a very long time ago. A lot of you people weren't even born, that's for sure. So anyway, enough of that. So the quick time events, from a baseball standpoint, let's just start with the catcher. So the catcher, we kind of revamped the blocking abilities and made sure that your rating really matters behind the plate. We have a new indicator that's on the ground that shows you when to block. So you got to be quick on the stick to get down and block a ball,
right,
especially in situations with runners on, important games, high impact plays, right? And we throw you into those situations when you're at the default setting, which is impact plays. And impact plays, I will say, for all you Road to the Show lovers or people that just like playing certain positions in a player lock, playing one of the big leaguers, they're just plays that throughout the game, we go through the simulator, and if there's a play to you, we have certain types of plays that happen for you so that you get more involved in the game, but they're very strategically set up so that they're not boring, so that you're actually doing something that's more fun. Because in the past, we're trying to make defense matter more in these situations so that it's exciting to play defense, and I'm not just trying to hit my 4 at-bats and just use that option in that mode.
Yeah.
So for the catcher, we're blocking balls. That's been revamped, and then we have part of that is the ball in the dirt feature for the base runners. And this is probably one of my favorite additions because I know for being somebody that needed to be more aggressive on the base path when I played, I had to do a little bit extra because I wasn't as talented as the players around me. I would pride myself in trying to read balls in the dirt. Essentially, that is just watching the pitcher, looking to see if he's throwing an off-speed pitch, reading that pitch on its way to the plate, and as soon as you see that ball about to go in the dirt, you take off and run. So we're going to throw those in and sprinkle those in as a base runner in Road to the Show as well. So we're just going to show it's going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's going to go in slow motion for a couple seconds. If you train on your base runner aggressiveness in Road to the Show, you'll build that up, and we're basing it off your aggression attribute. So the higher your attribute, the quicker that will come on and show you. And the worse it is, the later it comes on, so it makes it harder for you to read the ball in the dirt.
So it's all scaling based off the rating.
It's all scaling. Back to the catcher. We were talking about ball in the dirt and led me to that base runner one, but let's go back to the catcher. So we have a cutoff feature where the catcher is more of like the general out there, the captain on the field, and he's kind of directing the corner infielders on where to throw the ball. So we call our cutoff guys in the outfield actually relay guys because they're relaying the ball.
Right.
In the infield, we call our third basemen and our first basemen cutoff guys because essentially they're not throwing the ball home and they're not going to relay the ball home. We're going to want them to cut the ball and throw the ball to another base if they don't have a chance of getting the guy home, especially on an offline throw. So we're going to throw them into situations where the throw to the corner infielders is offline. We're going to bring up a QTE for 3 seconds. You're going to have to choose what base. You're going to be able to have a view of all the base runners. You're going to be able to cut it and redirect that throw.
Yeah, kind of the general of the infield there, making that decision, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then for the first and third baseman, they're going to do the same thing on their side. So we'll throw offline throws to them from the outfield. They'll have to make a decision to either relay that ball home or cut it to another base for the corner guys. We also have new hot shot animations for all the infielders. So the QTE you'll have to perform when the ball's smoke like 95 plus right at you. A bunch of hot shot new animations that you have to perform with QTE. And we have the swim move for base runners as well, which is another new popular one. You guys saw that in the stream.
Yeah,
I love the swim move.
You guys have seen a ton of the stuff we're talking about in the pre-record. We're showing you some fun player lock stuff right now with Dre on the sticks. Is there anything else that we need to cover here, Ashley?
I think we have covered it. I'll give Connor and Gil some time if there's anything that they want to add before we get going. But in the meantime, friendly reminder, pre-orders are open now. So if you've been liking what you've been seeing and hearing about gameplay, you are able to do that. Quick reminder, if you purchase the Digital Deluxe Edition, you will have early access starting March 13th at 9 p.m. Pacific Time. That's March 14th, midnight Eastern for everybody on the East Coast. And then, of course, sign up for the scouting report. Like Connor was saying, we send out surveys all throughout the year, gaining this feedback to see what kind of changes we can make year in and year out, and you never know what other goodies that you're going to get in the scouting report. I also want to make sure y'all know Twitch drops are active. These drops will be showing up in MLB The Show 25, and as we wrap up gameplay, stay tuned for Road to the Show deep dive and feature premiere next week. I'm Ashley, this is Carson, Connor, and Gil. Any last words?
Slow down. Colin's telling us to slow down. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Look at the schedule.
Oh,
We got a schedule slide.
We got a schedule.
Let's post
There
that
you go.
schedule, Ash.
Yeah, so like Ashley said, Road to the Show next week. We're super excited to go through that with you guys. We'll have featured premieres every Thursday leading up to launch with those deep dives on Tuesdays with RoFlow. Shout out RoFlow. And then, we'll be diving into franchise and storylines the following week. Diamond Dynasty, I know you guys have a ton of questions about some of the new modes in there. We're excited to share that. And then, of course, we got to do the dev tourney, followed by live content. So really excited for this road to launch 25. We got a ton of cool stuff we're ready to share with you guys. So thanks for joining. Gil, Connor, anything?
I forgot one thing in the player luck, and I got to, and
Okay.
you guys understand when I say I forgot, I mean a lot of people worked really hard on these things, so I got to give them credit for doing it. And the new analog base running in player lock or Road to the Show, which is really cool. Essentially, it's just you point in the direction you want to run, and the camera is going to do its thing no matter what direction you move the camera. If you point in the direction you want to run, he's going to go in that direction. So it's new analog base running.
It's a lot more familiar with what other games do when it comes to third-person cameras and how you run in a kind of open world environment. So it's worth giving a shot. It's the default. If you don't like it, you can change it. But we really are enjoying playing around with it.
That will be all from us. Once again, thank you, Carson, Connor, and Gil. If y'all have more questions about gameplay, hit up our socials, hit up the forums on theshow.com. We'll be reading it and answering whatever we can when we can. Until then, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
And it'll be the show 25, take 3.
What's up, guys? I'm Eli de la Cruz.
It's Gunnar Henderson here.
Hey everyone, this is Paul Skeens. Just wanted to announce we were just messing around yesterday. I'll be on the
Cover of MLB The Show 25
with Gunnar Henderson and Ellie De La Cruz.
But we're gonna play for real?
This is the fun part right here.
I am super excited to be sharing the cover of MLB The Show 25.
It's a huge honor to be on the cover with two great athletes.
A lot of blessing for you guys. Peace.
That's a wrap.
Thanks, guys.
MLB The Show fans, we've heard your feedback, and we're providing a play-by-play of what's new with gameplay updates. First up, ambush hitting. Ambush is a new feature that allows you to emulate a real major league hitter by choosing which side of the plate you think the pitcher is going to attack. Guess right, and the plate coverage indicator will grow, giving you a bigger sweet spot and a slight improvement to your swing timing. Guess wrong, and your PCI will shrink, making it more difficult to line up your bat. Similar to outfielders' hit reactions in MLB The Show, we now have 3 different reaction time animations for infielders. These animations scale from the fastest to the slowest jump, depending on your fielder's reaction time attribute. On average, your top-rated fielders will trigger the quickest start transition, while lower-rated players will experience slight delays. You get instant feedback as arrows shoot out of the player marker indicating your jump. Blue is the fastest, green is average, and yellow is the slowest. This will be a game changer.
Now a jump throw. That's a great play.
New in MLB The Show 25 is GOAT Difficulty. GOAT Difficulty will challenge you in a way that's never been experienced in MLB The Show.